Let's get right into it. Against all odds, this past Friday, main event match with Moose for that TNA World Championship, and some craziness. Obviously, the system gets involved, and then we see your wife Rebby get involved, and then we see your brother Jeff get involved. I mean, just talk about everything that happened at the end of that pay-per-view on Friday night.
It was wild, right? It was total bedlam. First and foremost, I just want to say big respect goes out to Moose. We went out there and for 21, 22 minutes, we really beat each other up really, really aggressively. Had a hell of a match. I was very happy with it. It was a sold out show, which made me so happy. It's so nice to see TNA doing those sellouts. The fire marshal was telling people, if you walk out the door, you can't come back in. That's how packed that place was. But the fact that my family had my back, which was so cool. The Snow Witch, Alicia, she started caning me when I obviously had Moose beat. I put him through a table, off a ladder with a leg drop, and then I hit him with a twist of hate. So he was obviously beaten. I was going to win the TNA World title right there. She broke that up and stopped that. Next thing you know, here comes Queen Rebecca out. And, she starts taking the earrings off, and the Barriqua in her went wild as she started beating up ladies. And then lo and behold, whenever the match ended and the system jumped everybody and we were all down and they were on top of everyone, here comes the iconic Hardy Boyz music, and Jeff Hardy shows up to have my back. And the Hardy Boyz have been reunited once and for all on TNA. And it is going to be very exciting because I believe in TNA, the Hardy Boyz can get the run that we deserve at this stage of our career. And that is the run to cement our legacy. And that is very important to both of us.
Well, I was going to hold off on going in for the kill, but after hearing that, I'm going in for the kill.
Go for the kill.
So the run that the Hardy Boyz have earned, the run that the Hardy Boyz deserve, yada, yada. Why did we not see that type of run occur in AEW?
That's a great question. And I would just say, I think considering Jeff and I, our status as legends, and with the way we work right now, I feel we have incredible star power. I mean, if you were at WrestleCon in Philadelphia, it was outrageous how much we signed, how many people that were there to see us. We have fans coming up crying to us like it's 2000 all the time. But I feel like AEW is more focused on having a 5-star match as opposed to having a segment that is hugely impactful and makes a moment. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, that's why that happens. In the beginning, we started off very well. Jeff messed up and he made a mistake. And Jeff tried to repent for that. He did everything. He went and got right. And one thing that I can say about Jeff, that I am very happy at the place he is in his life. He's practically perfect as a human being. He hadn't been like this in well over 20 years. So that is great. And that makes me very happy for him and his family. So he was in a good place. I just don't know why we never got that other opportunity to show people what we could do and capitalize on the popularity that we have. We're like, much like you guys, Bubba, when you and Devon step out, you are generationally popular. There are people from different generations that know you and love you and respect you. And Jeff and I are like that to a very high degree. And we would have loved to have had that run in AW, but lo and behold, that didn't happen. And I think we're both happy now that we are somewhere else where we feel like we'll get utilized and optimized in our status as legends, as we are legends who can still go.
Matt, I got to just follow up on that really quickly because I know there's a lot to get into with TNA, but did you feel that like when you first got there? And it's unfortunate when you made your debut in AEW, it was like right as soon as the pandemic hit. So that big moment for you never happened in front of fans.
Right.
But then you get reunited with Jeff. And like you said, you're one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And I was excited about it because AEW had some great tag teams as well. Like, so when you first got together with Jeff, did you have high hopes about how you were going to be used in AEW?
I did. And I think in the beginning, we were used very well. Once again, a lot of that falls on Jeff. That ends up ultimately at the end of the day being Jeff's fault. And I'm a very truthful person. I can say that. Yes, we hoped we could have been utilized and optimized to the highest degree. And they did have a great tag division. The Bucks, who I love, I have so much respect for. I would do anything for Matt and Nick Jackson. I have lots and lots of love for those guys, and I know the respect is mutual. It's just one of those things that there were so many great tag teams, and there still is so many great tag teams. And AEW is a great organization. The pro wrestling world needs it. but it wasn't the place for me and Jeff at this certain time because they're just in a different mindset. I think Tony Khan is in a different mindset, and it is what it is. It's nothing to be hot about. Tony Khan, great dude. I was paid great while I was there. It was just, I think both of us, myself and Jeff, we wanted something different. There was one point where I just said, like, we haven't won a match in 11 months on TV, and we are legitimately in like the top 5 conversation of greatest tag teams of all time. Like, what is going on here? Like, let's correct this. Let's course correct. But it didn't happen, and it is what it is. If they want to go a different direction and do their thing, then so be it. More power to them, and it's up to them. It's their company.
And Dave, if I could just peel back the curtain a little bit, even though the internet had, Jeff Hardy available, people had Jeff Hardy gonna be there at Against All Odds. Jeff was brought in. Jeff hung out for a couple of hours. Nobody really saw Jeff show up. And if Cicero Stadium, you have to walk upstairs. It's on a second floor, kind of like how the Manhattan Center is. I wish I would have mounted a camera on where all the wrestlers on the bottom floor were watching. The amount of excitement in that building, and I was getting goosebumps when that music hit. Because also that's paid music, and TNA paid for that music to be out there, because that's the most iconic Hardy music. The reception, everybody on the downstairs, and because we have people that grew up idolizing Matt and Jeff that are in the locker room now, that they're wrestlers. The building was shaking, dude. And and this is what I told a lot of the wrestlers afterwards. This is why I'm so passionate, because for Bully, for myself, for Matt, in ECW, I got to live those moments every week, dude. For Matt and Jeff, when their music would hit during the Attitude Era, when their music, they still to this day, loudest pop ever for a return at WrestleMania.
WrestleMania 33 was off the charts.
When you get that rush of energy and adulation for seeing somebody, it's the greatest feeling ever. And it was a game-changing moment for the locker room. I had people coming back, they were everyone was jumping up and down, grown people in the industry. Then other people were saying, dude, the building was shaking. Another person said, I was watching dust come off of the ceiling because of the roar of the crowd. And this is for wrestlers. Thinking of what the fans think when you talk about that status, about celebrating two people we've loved. Listen, I love Matt Hardy. I love Jeff Hardy. I also watch Matt Hardy walk, and Matt Hardy walks a little bit slower. And I'm like, yeah, how many table bumps is that guy doing? And then I see the guy go to the top and do another table bump. I don't want my friend to be in pain. I don't want my friend to be a cripple. But when he's out there doing his love, I was like, that's what's so great about Matt Hardy. He's still shining. And he's in the best shape of his career. He really is. I'm in the worst shape, by the way, but I digress.
Matt,
We did 22 minutes, and I felt great out there. And it's funny, I've been doing this since winter. I've been jumping in my pool, doing cold plunges, and I still continue doing ice baths. And it has been a miracle to my body in many ways. And my hips and my lower back, I felt so great. And I was in that shape even when Jeff had a run of singles matches. Jeff would say to me every night, why am I doing singles matches? Why are we not doing tag team matches here at AEW? We're a tag team. This is what we should be doing. And I don't know, it just is what it is. But we're at a place right now where both of us, individually and together, are going to be respected and utilized in the way we'd like to be utilized.
So let me follow up on that, Matt, individually and together as a team, and the utilization by TNA. Both of you as singles wrestlers have had success in TNA, and obviously the Hardys as a team have had success in TNA. If you had the pencil right now, if you were booking, if you were in creative, are you using Matt and Jeff together as the traditional team? Are you booking Matt and Jeff separately? Or are you guys so versatile that creative can do anything that they want with you at any given moment?
I think if I was in control, I wouldn't want to be one of the talents and booking at the same time. Not really. It's got,
I'm just hypothetically,
of course,
if you had
hypothetically.
say in your creative.
Of course, I know. I mean, I think you go with the team because that is where we're at our most popular. You put the Hardys together, and if we're doing the standard traditional version of the Hardys, super popular, especially with the iconic music. Even if we switch it up a little bit, we do broken Hardys. That's cool too. Jeff really wants to do Will-O-the-Wisp. Jeff is an artist. He wants to do things kind of out of the box. He wants those opportunities. And one thing I do want to say, whenever I showed up and I twisted faded Moose at the end of Rebellion when I first returned to TNA. Just like Tommy said, it was so crazy. The line of the locker room that just like met to say, "Oh my God, it's so great to see you here. It's so good and it's so cool." There were so many wrestlers at AEW that said the same thing, like, "Oh my God, I grew up watching you guys and the TLC matches. They were so influential." Just the fact that you're involved in the same conversation, blah blah blah. We have influenced a generation of talent, and that generation now is making their way into the top platforms in pro wrestling, and that is so cool. But myself and Jeff, we are at our best when we are together doing the Hardys.
And for you with TNA, and you have a history in TNA, would you be happy to close the book on your career being a part of TNA, or would you like to have like one last run in the WWE?
I feel like I would like to do TNA and have a hell of a run there, and then I almost feel like now, just the way destiny has revealed itself in many ways, I almost feel Jeff and I, we end up returning to WWE, do something small, and then go into the Hall of Fame.
It's
And
an
I
absolute
almost think that's a best
no-brainer.
case scenario. Yeah.
I don't mean to speak over you, but it's an absolute no-brainer. You were created in the WWE. You became stars in the WWE. The only way to come full circle and end your careers is back in the WWE, having a last match either in North Carolina or at WrestleMania, and then being inducted into the Hall of Fame. End of story. There is no other story to write for Matt and Jeff Hardy.
Very good. It's one of those things too, man, where it's been so nice. The reaction, like Tommy was saying, was just off the charts. The fans, the locker room, people were so excited to see Jeff back, which was so cool. And we're coming to the most extreme arena in America, coming up here in Philadelphia, and very excited about that because the Hardy Boys are going to be teaming for the first time since returning to TNA, and also my lovely wife, former Busted Open host. Queen Rebecca, she is actually going to be coming out of retirement to be wrestling for the first time in nearly 8 years, which is going to be
wow.
wild.
All right, so you got to tell her that she's got to be a guest here on Busted Open because we got to talk about that match, because I want to get into that moment for you, Matt, to come back to TNA, to get that type of a match. You're in the main event on a pay-per-view, your brother getting involved and Queen Rebecca getting involved. Like, just talk about that moment for you, because that's your family, that's your blood, that's your wife, that's your brother. And to get that kind of ovation from the crowd, you've had a lot of amazing moments in your career, but that's got to be up there, what happened on Friday night, right?
We're very blessed. I'm very blessed, I should say, because I have had so many moments throughout my career. It's crazy how through so many different decades, I've had so many incredible moments. I love that so much. It was very cool. I was nervous. I wasn't nervous about the match with Moose at all. Like, we were doing a bunch of crazy things in there, but I wasn't nervous about it. But my wife was so nervous. She made me nervous a little bit because I was nervous for her, because I have to I kind of have to absorb her energy as well. But she ended up doing great. She's going to train a little more and take a few more bumps, considering she was pretty sore and beat up after taking a couple bumps like that. But that was cool that she came down and interfered, and it's something she wanted to do. Which she was like up for doing this and doing one last wrestling run, before it was all said and done. And then Jeff came to me and he said, "Hey man, I love what you're doing in TNA." And he saw some of the matches I had on TNA over the last few weeks. "I love what you're doing." He said, like, "Man, if my AEW deal runs out," he said, "I would like to come there. I would like to team with you and let's do our thing there." I said, "Dude, done." And as soon as his deal was up, we did that Friday morning. His deal was up. We got him on a flight and boom, out there. So it was great. And just for the crowd to react like they did and to create those moments and that magic, that is what pro wrestling was all about. I mean, like, pump that into my veins. That is what I live for, those moments, being a passionate pro wrestler and having the crowd react like that.
Matt, everybody talks about the last great, golden era of tag team wrestling, Hardy's, Dudley's, Edge, and Christian. we're very fortunate to have had each other. You tell me, in your opinion, who is the team to propel tag team wrestling to greatness again?
Ooh, oh boy. That is a tricky question. I will tell you. I mean, I can say once again, I'm probably biased and partial, but I am a big fan of the Bucks. I do love that they actually turned heel. I love what they were doing with the Elite. I would like to have seen them run rampant a little more in their heel gig as far as being pulled back and having Tony and like having a management that was the babyface side of management, like, you know, come out against them already. I would have liked to push their heel thing a little further. I still feel like AEW needs to like do more heat involved stuff and more story stuff to continue to grow their audience. But that's me. That's my opinion. I would almost say of all the tag teams right now, probably the Bucks.
Why
Now,
do
you
you think
mentioned,
Dave? I just want to follow up on that, Matt. Why do you? I'm a huge fan of Matt and Nick. I'm big fan. Have got to share the ring with them at Tommy's House of Hardcore. Got to see them as young wrestlers. See what they're doing now. I enjoy them very much. Why do you think the Bucks get so much backlash?
I just think a lot of it results from the whole CM Punk scenario when that thing happened. You know, obviously when CM Punk did the thing at the Scrum, and then they confronted him, and there was the fight, and everything got broken. Obviously, Punk's an amazing talent. Punk does amazing work. The stuff he's doing in WWE is great now, and I think Punk is an incredible pro wrestler and entertainer. And he has a huge, large, dedicated cult-like fan base. And a lot of those people were ready to dig their claws into Matt and Nick and say, you know, the Young Bucks, they were trying to, you know, a conspiracy theory that they were trying to sabotage Punk at AEW or whatever it might be. And I think a lot of it stems from that.
you know, it's funny when you mention CM Punk, and this isn't really talked about much, Matt, is your brother Jeff putting Punk over when Jeff was leaving the WWE in that cage match on SmackDown, the championship match and then the cage match. That I really feel like that took CM Punk to the next level. A lot of people don't talk about that, but I really think Jeff took CM Punk to that next level. You know, speaking of AEW, because you said about the 5-star matches, can a company succeed and excel when it is, you know, more about the wrestling and more about a sport than, say, storytelling, characters, and personalities, in your opinion?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I guess AEW is a very unique experience into that.
I want to get into the podcast, Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, you and John Alba. You know, we've talked to you many times, you know, about this show and the popularity of that show. How do you like being on the other side and talking about the world of pro wrestling? And is that something that you want to do more of?
Yes, I enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a great learning experience for me. We're a couple years into this now. I just feel like my speaking form for a podcast, you know, which is an hour and a change in length, has gotten a lot better as time goes on. And it's really fun to look back and revisit things. And it's real fun to kind of give my takes and my opinions on why things happen like they do. And just, we live in such a strange world now where the internet and, you know, the information is so instant. Whenever you see a show and people give their quick takes or their hot takes, and, you know, this is this opinion, that opinion. And like, if someone doesn't agree with their opinion, then they're absolutely wrong. And it's just, people are so outspoken on social media. And the one thing I try and stress to pro wrestlers is just remember, social media isn't real. and that goes for the people that insult you and also the people that compliment you. And it goes both ways. It's a two-way street. Just remember, like, the most important feedback you can get from anyone else is if you're working at TNA, listen to a Tommy Dreamer or listen to a Lance Storm or listen to the people that are your producers and the people that actually know what they are talking about. You know, it's tough because people go online and that stuff is there automatically, but just at the end of the day, it doesn't represent reality.
Matt, what does it mean for you to, like, I mean, again, I walked up to you, I thanked you for the house, but what does it mean for you at this stage in your career? You see a sold out house. You saw the ratings of where the Hardy compound did a great number. Because also, if you really think about it, you were at the forefront of that cinematic stuff. Kind of happened because of, you know, not even the pandemic. It was just different. But what does it mean to you, again, as an older version of Matt Hardy, to see still this success? Or, I mean, you and I have talked about the social media numbers, insane since you've debuted back in TNA. But what does honestly that mean for you, like, as the person? I mean, we're all fans, but like then you look at it from the business side. But like, what does it mean to you?
I mean, it's humbling. It's super flattering. I mean, because at the end of the day, I am a boy who loved wrestling from Podunk, Cameron, North Carolina, who my dream was to one day be a wrestler with my brother, and we want to team up and be the WWF tag team champion just one time. And if we did it one time, then that's all we ever wanted to do. You know, so we went from that humble dream and those humble beginnings into, you know, changing the industry in so many ways, along with the help of the Dudleys and Edge and Christian. So it's special. And the fact that there are still fans out there that are willing to tune in and see Matt Hardy, willing to tune in and see Jeff Hardy. And, you know, the Hardy family is growing. There's so many projects that we're working on personally that there's a lot of stuff that we're getting close to announcing that House Hardy, when I say that, I mean myself, Rebecca, and the kids are about to do. And it's really, really cool. We're working on a lot of stuff here. And I feel like I'm at the stage of the game where I want to build my brand up and my family's brand up as much as possible. And those are the things I'm working on. But the fact that I can still go and people want to tune in and it does a good rating and it's in the top 150 TV shows of the night or whatever the stats were, the fact that we can have a sold out show and I can wrestle Moose in the main event. I mean, that stuff just makes me happy because that is what I am so passionate about. And it motivates me. It energizes me to work even harder. And it makes me want to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be and make any critics or haters eat words. That's what it makes me want to do in the most positive way possible.
I forgot to ask you this. Why do you have an active guillotine in your home?
That's my wife. I'll have to redirect that question to her. That's her thing. You know, she's producing the Gothic Baby content. The Gothic Baby is very popular. In some circles, I am just only known as the Gothic Baby's dad, and I am cool with that. I'm ready for her to start making all the money. I'm just going to sit back and hang out in the hot tub, right?
Nice.
You know, I've told all my boys as soon as they start working and they're ready to get on the road, I'm just going to be the wheel man, and they can be the new fabulous Freebirds.
I love it. I love it. And on that side, Life of a Gothic Baby by Rebby Hardy, available now at Amazon.com. I have my copy as well, so definitely support. Go to Amazon.com. It's available right now. And then I also wanted to bring up July 13th, Matt. You have a big event going on with your brother in Atlantic City for 90s Wrestling Con, where you're going to be doing your show with John Alba, and then the second half is going to be an acoustic performance by Jeff, correct?
Yes, it's going to be a night out with the Hardys. July 13th, we're going to be in Atlantic City. We're going to be doing a live Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, which those things are always fun because they're so interactive. We've got a couple really cool topics we're going to do. We're going to do some Attitude Era related stuff. So it's going to be fun. We're also doing a signing earlier that day. There's a con. There's going to be a live Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast that will be taped and later air on our podcast networks. And then Jeff is doing a concert afterwards, and he's been really passionate about his concert. So it's going to be a fun night. It's a night out with the Hardys. It's something you don't want to miss if you're near Atlantic City. And I also wanted to plug, there's the Broken Matt Hardy Big Rubber Guy, courtesy of, Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. They're working real hard with their figure line. This thing is very, very cool. You've got a couple more weeks to order, so make sure to get it. This thing's awesome.
I love it.
Matt, I got to ask you one last question about the potential of the future of you and Jeff. Hoping that you and Jeff have a great run in TNA, and when the time is right, once again, the possibility of finishing up in the WWE. However, what do you think it's going to take for the WWE to trust Jeff again?
That's a great question. And I think Jeff really wanted to come back to TNA to continue to build equity. And he knows that TNA and WWE are working together. And I have friends in the WWE. I have spoke with people in WWE. Obviously you do too. I know it's very cool how you did the WrestleMania gig, right? So I think Jeff just wants to, once again, just show people how he is a different human being. And the way to put equity into that is to go to TNA, have a kick-ass run, and just show people he's on his best behavior.
I think that's a very fair answer.
Yeah.
For those tickets for July 13th, go to hardyboyslive.com for all the details and for tickets. And Matt, as always, thank you for joining us. What we saw at Against All Odds was absolutely amazing. Can't wait for the next
Thank you.
chapter. And really looking forward to this run in TNA. And who knows, NXT and this relationship with TNA, there is a relationship between TNA and the WWE right now. So this could be a natural progression to one day, as you said, deservedly so, going in to the Hall of Fame. So Matt, congratulations on all the success, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you so much. I love all you guys. You're all amazing. And I'm very excited about being with TNA. TNA is also something that is very important to the pro wrestling industry. And I'm going to do my damnedest, along with my brother too, to do as much as we can to put TNA out there to the entire wrestling world.